So yeah, today we're gonna start off with the ones that are performing today, and then from there we'll have a look at the ones that I have bought. I bought in the past weeks, and see how they are performing. Also look at them on the chart and see how they are moving. So we'll start with Valterra, which is doing quite good today. Last week closed off with a sort of. So today we'll start off with shares that are quite performing better this week. So we'll start with Valterra. So Valterra was kind of stuck in this region here at this resistance and this support here. So I was waiting for it to break through that resistance and give us a new higher high, which it has given us that, because the previous one was at 905. Today it's at 926, which shows that it will continue going upwards. If you look at the general direction of the trend, you can see that it's been going to the upside. I was just waiting for it just to break at that resistance, which it has. So for those like who want to buy or are interested in buying a share that is performing today, go for Valterra, go for it, but I wouldn't like hold it for the long run, since I kind of like trade short term. I don't like holding trades for a very long time. So yeah, for those who are in for the long run, you can hold it until you are okay with it. But for someone like me, I trade on a daily basis. So if today the market is looking good or a share is looking good, I'll go for it, milk it out. Once I'm okay with it, sell it off. So that's how I go about it. So for those who are interested in buying, look, this is one that you could buy and hold. So you can go ahead and buy today or tomorrow, depending on how the market or how it will open tomorrow. So if you were to buy this one, rather buy it here, or once it produces a new higher high, maybe at 930 or 930 something, and then wait. Forecasting and measurement. So long position, so you buy it there, or if you're afraid, wait for it to go down, and after going down, once it starts picking up its momentum and going to the upside and giving you a new higher high, you can buy it from there. It will depend on you how much you want to lose, or the percentage that you want to lose. Let me just put it there. So if you're willing to lose 10% of what you're putting in, then go ahead, but I don't like losing more than 2%, so I would most likely put my stop loss around around here, and go for something like this. So if I bought it here, I would want to gain, let's say I'm losing, or I'm willing to lose 2%. So I'd rather get a return of maybe, or a gain of let's see, 1:3. 2, then I would get how much? Yeah, I'd rather wait for it to give me a 6% gain if I was trading it today. Yeah, something like this, and then I would get out of the market, right? Yeah, I would get out of the market if I was trading today. So for those who are willing to buy it, yeah, this is where you can start buying. Or if you are scared, wait for it to go to the downside and pick up its momentum to create a new higher high, maybe at 930 or 930, whatever, and then hold it until it gives you the return or the gains that you want. So we'll go to the next one that is performing today, which is Impala. But I'll start on the daily chart, to see the overall direction. So same thing again with Impala. I was just waiting for it to get out of this sideways movement. After getting out of this sideways movement, break to the upside and continue going up. So you can see it did that with this bullish candlestick that we see today here. So for those who want to buy, you would go for it, but where to buy or where you'd want to start buying, it's when it creates a new higher high. That's how I roll. So I think this was last week. Yeah, this was last week here. This is what happened last week. It opened with a strong bullish candlestick, broke out of that sideways movement that you see here. After that, it went to the downside, and today it's continuing to the upside because this candlestick that you see here is much more bigger than the one that you see here, right? This bearish candlestick that you see here was overpowered by this bullish one, and then the continuation that you see today at 11. So for those who want to buy, look, if you are scared, you'd wait for it to retrace or go to the downside like so, and then continue going up. So once it creates a new higher high, maybe let's say at 189 or maybe 188, that's when you start buying. It will depend on you how much you want to gain. But if you are like me and you are in it for short-term trades, you just get in and go out, right? So let me go to long, then wait for it to get to maybe let's say 189, buy there at 189. Okay, let's just push this thing a bit up. Okay, that's fine there. And then I'm willing to lose maybe 2% or not more than 2%. Put my stop loss there, then my gain would be more than 2%. So I would get out or start selling off at 200. So once it reaches 200, then obviously it will kick itself out, because that's where I put my take profit, and then I would make my 6% and then move on to the next one. So so for those who are interested in buying this one, buy it around at 190, 189, and then hold it until it gives you what you want or the profit that you want. For those who are long-term traders, you can hold it until whenever, but you must always check the chart and see how it's moving, because you don't want to hold something not knowing if it's continuing to the upside or not. So yeah, so let me go to the ones that I've been holding ever since the past few weeks. Start on the daily. Let me go to the one. So we'll start with Remgro. So Remgro, I've been holding it, although you can see that it was pushing up, or it has been trying to gain its momentum to the downside after this short downtrend. It failed to continue going to the downside after this candlestick over here, which was on the 15th. And on the 16th, yeah, I tried to push back down, but then buyers pushed it back up to the upside. As you can see, these bullish candlesticks that are formed, even though they're formed, you can see that it tried pushing up but failed, and you start seeing it going to the downside again, meaning that more people want to sell it off. But as for me, like I said in the previous videos, I'm holding it until it gives me a return of maybe above 900 rand. If it does continue going up, maybe hold it until it gives me $1,000, and then yeah, I'll show you in my Easy Equities account to see how they are performing, like the ones that I've bought, and see if maybe that it's worth holding them or not. So yeah, as you can see today, it has been pushing up to the upside. Like from Friday, it has been pushing to the upside, but then today, since it opened, it went to the upside, creating a new higher high around areas of 178, but then came back down to the downside. If we go further on other time frames, we can see a bit better. Although it is going to the downside, the amount of candlesticks or the bearish candlesticks that are forming are not that strong, or maybe let me put it a bit better, powerful. They aren't pushing as much or how they were pushing from last week. You see here, this was a very strong bearish candlestick that formed after this breakout, which created a continuation to the upside. But after going to the upside, this bearish candlestick formed and caused this short-term downtrend, or this short going, or people selling it off. But then it didn't continue after reaching here. One would have thought that after forming this bearish candlestick, it will continue going to the downside, but it failed, which changed the direction. And then we see now that it's going to the upside again, or it's continuing to go to the upside, which has been the overall direction of Remco. So for those who are scared, yeah, don't buy it, because I'm the one who has been holding it. So for those who are scared, don't buy it. But for those who are willing to risk and see if it will continue going to the upside, rather wait for it to do something like this, geometric shapes. So since it's going to the downside, or this short-term movement to the downside, wait for it to do something like this and create a new higher high. And after that new higher high, it might do something like this to show that it's continuing to go to the upside, right? So for those who aren't scared to risk, or for those who are hoping for it to go to the upside, rather wait for it to do something like this, and then go back to the chart, and then buy only once it gives you a new higher high. That's how I trade. My strategy is very simple. I don't like complicating myself in doing whatsoever and whatnot. Wait for it maybe to reach, because the previous one was I think at 177, 178. Wait for it to get to 179, 180. Like I always do, I'd rather risk 2% or not more than 2%. Maybe put my stop loss maybe around here, and wait for it to give me 2 point something. right? It's fine over there, and then my return has to be more than 2%, right? It's fine there. So yeah, wait for it to do something like this, and then you take away your gains if you are, you know, you're a risk taker. But if you're scared, wait for it until it gives you what you want. But this is how I would enter if I had not bought it in the past few weeks. I would wait for it to give me something like this, or follow this path that I've drawn here. So let's go to the other ones that I've bought. Let's go to Exaro. Zaro, it's the same thing. Last week it pushed to the downside. Let me start on the daily so you can see the overall direction. So it's been pushing to the upside, but then once it reached this price of 177, let's say 178, it started going to the downside. But even though it went to the downside with this strong bearish candlestick, or engulfing bearish candlestick, it didn't continue to go to the downside, because usually after whatever trend, whether it's going to the upside or downside, once an engulfing candlestick appears after the previous one, expect that the trend will change. So if it was going to the upside, and you see a strong or engulfing candlestick after that uptrend, expect that the direction will change. It will start going to the downside, and then if it continues, it will continue. You will see how it continues. If it doesn't continue, you will see that it won't continue. But with this one, you can see it didn't continue, because after this formation of this strong engulfing bearish candlestick, it didn't continue to the downside. Rather, more buyers came in the market and started pushing up the price. As you can see, that's the bearish candlestick that formed, I think, on Friday at the open of the market. But then the next candlestick that formed, you can see this is an indecision candlestick, which shows that, you know, the sellers aren't quite sure about selling off, or more buyers are pushing it up, right? Or there is no more selling power, which means that more buyers have entered the chat or have entered the market. So yeah, it went to the downside, but quickly changed its direction, going to the upside. So for those who are willing to capitalize or continue waiting for it to go to the upside, rather wait for it to do something like this and start buying it once it shows you something like this. Like I said, my strategy is very simple. So since it was going to the downside, it failed continuing to the downside by doing something like this. I was expecting it to do something like this since it was pushing to the downside. Okay, I'm just waiting for it to do something like this. For it to continue going to the downside, it should have done something like this. Give us a new lower low, retrace to the upside, and after that continue going to the downside. I think from there, that's where, if you were holding it, you would sell it off. But if you haven't, you'd rather wait for it to come back up and hit or create a new higher high around 179 or 180 and start buying it. So it didn't do this, which means that there wasn't any more sellers that were willing to sell it. So more people who were willing to buy it pushed it to the upside. As you can see, it pushed up, went down, and then I think this is how it closed on Friday. It went up, came down, but didn't continue to go to the downside. Rather opened with a bullish candlestick, but even after that bullish candlestick that opened, it didn't continue its momentum to go to the upside, so rather it pushed to the downside. So you can see here that there is a lot of indecision candlesticks. You can see that there is a hammer there, which shows that more buyers are trying to push it up to the upside. But as you can see, the candlesticks that are supposed to be forming or showing that it will continue to go to the upside aren't forming. So rather wait for it to do something like this. Since it's doing this, might push down after this candlestick and do something like this, create a double bottom right over there, do something like this, and then continue going to the upside and giving you that new higher high. So for those that are willing to buy it, rather wait for it to create a new higher high at 179, 180 and start buying over there. So yeah, for those who are willing to buy and those who are willing to risk and get some few profits over there, that's how you would go about it. So let's go to Sibanye. With Sibanye, it's the same thing. It's after that uptrend, it pushed to the downside. So this is how it was moving. All along it was moving to the upside, and then I think this was, let's see, that this was Friday. It opened with a engulfing bullish candlestick, went to the upside, pushed and reached the levels of 42 rands, but after that it started going to the downside. But even though it went to the downside, it failed to continue going down, and then today it opened with another bullish candlestick, which shows that there are more people who are willing to buy it, or more people are willing to buy it rather than selling it off. So let's go to the other time frames. Let's go to the 4 hour and see how it moves. So that's the bullish or the engulfing bullish candlestick that opened on Friday. Then came this rather bearish candlestick, which tried to close half of that opening candlestick, but even after that it didn't continue going to the downside, but rather it's continuing to go to the upside, as you can see. So it just created a short-term downtrend. After this candlestick started going down, I thought, when I saw this engulfing bearish candlestick, I thought it would do something like this and continue going to the downside, but unfortunately it didn't work out. As you can see here, this indecision candlestick was formed, I think, on Friday around 2. I thought it would do something like this and continue going to the downside, but it didn't do that. As we can see, more people, or more buyers, or more people are buying the share and kicking the price of Sibanye, or making it go to the upside. So yeah, so for those who would want to buy it, rather wait for it, like I've shown in the other ones, rather wait for it to do something like this. Let me go to a shorter time frame so you can see properly, or you can see where to start buying if you are a risk taker. But if you aren't a risk taker, I rather wait for it to give you what you want. So if you're a risk taker, you wait for it to do something like this. So you can see it's been pushing up. After pushing up, broke this level here and created a new higher high, but not the one of 42 rands, right? So rather wait for it to do something like this. As you can see, there's an indecision candlestick which might push this trend to the downside. Wait for it to do something like this, break that previous higher high of 42 rands, wait for it to go to the downside again, and once it does this, you can start buying it. So you can start buying it after creating a new higher high here at 43 or more than 43 rands, and then yeah, you can buy it if you're a risk taker. If you aren't, I know, wait for it to do what you want. So don't follow these tricks or the approach that I'm doing if you aren't a risk taker. If you want to play it safe, wait for it to do what you want, and then once it gives you what you want, you can start buying it. Yeah, so let me just jump to my Easy Equities account and show you how much profit I've made so far from these three. So far I'm standing at a profit of 402, but it will be broken down into three profits because maybe one share is gaining more than the other ones, and then yeah, so forth and so forth. So as you can see, I'm standing at a profit of 67 rands on Exaro. Messmart, ignore it, I didn't buy that. And then with Remgro, I'm standing at a profit of 144. Sibanye, I'm standing at a profit of 189. So yeah, they're doing good, but for those who aren't risk takers, don't do what I was showing you. Rather wait for it to give you what you want, and then yeah, that's all I can say. But like I said, I'm willing to hold on to these ones until they give me the desired profit that I want. And if they don't give me the profit that I want, and I see that they won't show any sign of continuing to continue to go to the upside, I will just sell it off and start purchasing other ones that might give me the return or the profit that I want. So yeah, that's all for today.